A prophet like Moses. When Jesus began performing miracles in the sight of all who were watching, they said, "This is truly the prophet who is to come into the world." What do they mean, the prophet who is to come into the world? They were referring to the prophet that Moses spoke about, and there was an expectation among the people in Israel that this prophet was about to appear. Moses spoke an amazing prophecy about the Messiah in the book of Deuteronomy, where he reminded Israel about all that God had done for them and encouraged them to be faithful to God. The prophecy goes like this. Moses said to Israel, "The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from your midst, from your brethren. Him you shall hear." And then God spoke to Moses regarding the prophecy. In Deuteronomy 18:18, God said to Moses, "I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brethren, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him. And it shall be that whoever will not hear my words, which he speaks in my name, I will require it of him." God told Moses that the Messiah would be a prophet like Moses. The Lord had previously said that when he speaks to the prophets, he speaks to them in a vision or in a dream, but that's not how he spoke to Moses. The Lord said that he spoke to Moses face to face as a man speaks to his friend. If we look more closely at this prophecy in Deuteronomy 18:18, first, the Messiah would be a prophet like Moses. Second, the Messiah would be from among their brethren. Moses said that the Messiah would be a Jew. Third, God said, "I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I command him." The Lord basically said that the words coming out of the Messiah's mouth would be the very word of God. Fourth, whoever will not hear God's words, which the Messiah will speak in God's name, God will judge him and hold him accountable, whomever it may be. And the judgment will be because they chose not to hear the words that came out of the Messiah's mouth. All this was written way back in the time of Moses. Now, if we examine carefully the words of Jesus, we will find that there are striking similarities. Jesus said, "For I have not spoken this of myself, but the Father which sent me, he gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak." Jesus also said, "He that rejects me and receives not my words has one that judges him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day." John chapter 12. Sound familiar? This statement corresponds exactly with the prophecy in Deuteronomy 18:18. When Jesus was in a discussion with the Pharisees, he said to them, "I have come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive." This also corresponds with the prophecy in Deuteronomy 18:18. There's another portion where the Pharisees made an interesting statement. They said, "We are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses." John chapter 9, verse 28. So Jesus summed it all up for the Pharisees. He said, Don't think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is already one who accuses you, even Moses, on whom you have set your hope. For if you believed Moses, you would believe me, for he wrote about me. But if you don't believe his writings, how will you believe my words? John 5:45 through 47. The ancient prophecies spoke about Jesus. All the events in Jesus' life, his words, the places he went, the people he spoke with, the miracles, everything about his personality and his character, and even his death and his resurrection, were all in fulfillment of what was written about him by the prophets.